In some ways, I'm a little disappointed when I look at a box score and see that we give up. Now it's 19 offensive rebounds. Before it was 18. So if I was upset, I'm a little bit more upset, maybe 1/19th more upset than I was. That's just way too many offensive rebounds to give up. And, always prided our program's ability to not give up second shots. And we have to get much better in that area. It starts with being able to contain the ball and dribble penetration so that your defensive rebounders are in solid position to block their man out and secure the ball. And then there's a little bit of toughness element to it. So we're very early into the season. We are far from a finished product, but I know this, we have to get much better in that area. And, I give Youngstown State a lot of credit. I talked to one of their rival coaches in their league, and he had nothing but good things to say about them. They returned the majority of their roster. Talked about them being a team that very, very tough, a together group, and now an experienced group. So we certainly had a lot of respect for those guys coming in, and we didn't have much respect when the shot went up, and that's why they gave us 19 offensive rebounds with their effort. But be that as it may, we'll try to get better from this game, and we know we have a really big challenge on Wednesday against Indiana State, who took Dayton to the wire yesterday. So with that, I'll take some questions.
Appreciate your first 11 shots, and just to get off to a good start was nice.
Well, we got off to a good shooting start, Jody, and I think sometimes that becomes fool's gold with your team, that now you don't have to necessarily work the ball into the right positions. You don't have to be as patient with ball movement. You don't have to be as hard cutting because it's going in. And then it didn't. And we looked very stagnant on offense. And so we have to know that our offense isn't based on if we're making shots. It's the shots that we're creating. Thought a good majority of those were good ones. But then, towards the end of that 11 or 12 in a row, I thought we were taking some tougher ones that, again, went in, but that can be fool's gold sometimes. It could trick you into, hey, we're really hard to stop. And we need to be able to team that generates really, really good shots on the offensive end.
12 assists from Darius.
Best game he's played since I've been head coach. It was great to see. I'm really happy for Darius. I thought he did it on both ends of the floor. He had their biggest challenge in their returning scorer and assist leader, and really a guy who leads them in everything in Quisenberry. So Darius had that challenge, and his assist-turnover ratio to go 12 assists, 1 turnover, phenomenal. Did a great job.
I wanted to see what you thought Ryan was doing on both ends of the floor, how he was developing.
I think Ryan's developed into a lot more than a shooter. We all know that he can shoot the ball. We all want him to shoot when he's open. But on offense, he's really created other looks for his teammates. I think he's almost perfected that little eye the rim, head bob, head fake. It gets his primary defender out of position. He gets in the teeth of the defense, and he's been stronger with the ball, and he's made better decisions for the most part when he's gotten there. And he's also made some two-pointers. And if you look early in his career, he never shot two-pointers. So he's figured out a way, despite his size, and maybe he's not the quickest guy in the world, how to get there, and that's what good players do. Defensively, he's never going to overwhelm you with his athleticism or his length. We know that. But he is very attentive to our system, and he does as good of a job as he can with the DNA that he was blessed with.
Coach, 17 assists and only 1 turnover total for your point guards in the game. Just kind of talk about if you like what you see in terms of running the team and getting into good shots.
Yeah, it was a tough, I don't say environment. It was a tough defensive look that we were given each and every time down the floor because they were changing their defenses a lot. And for our guys, our point guards, to go 17-1 on assist turnover ratio, being able to at times deal with a contained press, at times be able to deal with man-to-man where they're switching everything. At times they were going into Baylor's 1-1-3 zone. That's a lot of different looks that a point guard is seeing. And for us to, again, go 17 assists, 1 turnover, I want those guys to run our team. And everybody says that's the question mark about our team. And I think anybody in the room would take 17 assists, 1 turnover, no matter who you're playing.
Chris, there was one of the plays early in the second half where Darius went to the basket, and he had a shot, but it would have been a difficult one, and he passed it off. How much of an emphasis was that in the offseason of him more under control to get the easier shot and become more of a point guard instead of taking those like maybe he did last year?
I want Darius to do what the game tells him to do, and that in and of itself determines, how good of a player you are at the point guard or off guard position. He can get around his man. He has the ability to shoot the ball from three. I know he hasn't shot it well so far this year. He made 20 in a row today in shoot around. He can really shoot. And being able to balance when to shoot, when to pass, when to score, that's the challenge at this level. You got bigs in the lane trying to block your shot. You got guards squeezing down, helping the helper. And Darius made a pass against Miami where he drove the lane, saw Jordan in the left corner. I don't know if you just saw that a year ago or made the correct play. He is making the correct play more and more and more. And hopefully the more he does that, the more confidence he has in himself to run our team and to be a primary scorer when he gets pushed to the two.
Chris, this is 2 games in a row now. You held Youngstown to 31%, 27 in the second half. And I don't know what the percentage was against Miami, but you got to be pleased with the way defensively that you played. Break that down, and how do you view that?
I appreciate that. I'm not very pleased with our defense at this point. My challenge and our challenge as a team is to be the same team every single play, every single game. We're not there yet. And, everyday guys, every play guys, regardless of what's going on in the game, regardless if we've been on a 10-0 run, we continue to play with passion on the defensive end. On the offensive end, we go on a 10-0 run. We continue to move the ball and try to get the best shot we can. Again, regardless of the score, the opponent, the venue, who's in the game, that's how Louisville needs to play. And we're going to continue to try to grow in that area. But we've got some work to do. You give up 18 offensive rebounds, I wouldn't say that's a great defensive effort. You get beat like we did in the lane. As we step up competition level and some of those guys become 6'7" instead of 6'4", those are dunks. And so we've got to do a little bit better job than we did. Thought we were better in the second half than we were in the first.
What did you think of Fresh out there? He didn't score, but 5 assists, no turnovers.
Yeah, he's got to shoot it better. He's more than capable. He's got maybe the longer lines affecting him a little bit. But again, he's very steady with the ball. He's very cognizant of what he has to do on the defensive end. It's a little bit like CC with maybe not as much opportunity as CC had. But I'm very comfortable when he's out on the floor of him running our offense, getting us in the right play, being very steady with the ball, maybe not taking as many chances. He doesn't have the electric quickness that Darius does. But I think as Fresh gets his legs under him with our team, our program, gets used to the center, his role, I think he'll continue to get better and better for us.
You mentioned Malik being a guy before the injury, very vocal for you guys on defense. Has somebody stepped up in his absence in that role? We're
a little hit or miss right now with our defensive communication. I think you see that on, what we call fake ball screens, where a guy's acting like he's ball screening, and then he slips out to the three-point line, and now next thing you know, we have 2 men guarding the ball and nobody guarding the pick and pop. And that's a communication error. And that's not just on one guy. That's several players. We have to be more vocal than we are now. Nobody on our team's as vocal as Malik. So that hurts us a little bit. But hopefully days like today and spells that we went through at the end of the first half continue to reinforce that notion to our team how important it is.
So Steven had a big game. In what ways have you seen him improve since last year?
He is very confident. I think that I don't just mean in scoring the ball, because he did a great job today. I think, what did he miss, 2 shots? Man, I can't find his name on here. There we go. 6 shots. 2 of them were threes, which I didn't want him shooting, and we'll discuss those in film. So now we'd be down to 8 out of 12. One of them was a missed dunk under the basket. He normally makes those, would be the 8 of 11. He has grown in his confidence around the basket. Left hook, right hook, really doesn't matter. He's grown in confidence. He also got 14 rebounds, which he's never been a great rebounder. So I think that when you look at those two things, those areas he's grown there. But then also he got doubled quite a few times tonight. He was very patient. He made an open pass. He got guys shots. And I don't know if Steven could have done that a year ago. So his ability to handle double teams has really grown as well.
Coach, as a coach, when I say Quinn, you probably think of him getting beat baseline on that one play. But
very good, Kent.
He did hit two big shots. When the game was kind of still in doubt, what can that do for a kid's confidence this early in his career?
Yeah, I'm probably a bad coach because I crushed it on the defensive end. Quinn doesn't lack for confidence. And so I know that I can get on him, and, he'll just get back in the door and be like, that's all right, it's Coach Mack, I'm fine. So some guys really, really shrink with their confidence level. Quinn isn't that guy. That's why we recruited him. That's a big part of why we recruited him, that he feels like he can play on this stage. And he has to learn angles and do a better job on the defensive end, and part of that's game experience and getting burned like he did. But he's not afraid. He's not afraid. And so it's good to see when hard work gets rewarded for any of your players. One more for Coach, anyone?
Yeah, what's your take on Aiden's game? Not necessarily his best. Where does he still need to improve?
In all areas. I mean, he's fouling at an alarming rate, and the game's moving too fast for him, but we're going to continue to expose him in games so that he can get better. Ball screen defense and rebounding are the two primary concerns that I have and that we have to get those two things better. And if those two things improve greatly, we don't need him to be a primary scorer as a freshman 2 games into his career. We don't need him to be a play-through post, but we need him to rebound in and out of his area, and we need him to be able to defend a ball screen. And when he does those two things, his minutes and opportunity will grow.